Alright, so let's get into these angry thoughts. The first one I want to talk about is called Misattributing Causation. It's when you blame the wrong people for things. Or maybe you blame the right people, but you misunderstand why they did the thing. So a car cuts you off on the road and you say they did that on purpose when it was really just an accident. Now, it's one of the reasons why people get mad when they shouldn't. So pay attention to when you're doing it and make a point of reassessing. Ask yourself if you're right. Alright, so let's get into another type of angry thought. This time we're going to talk about overgeneralizing. Overgeneralizing is when you use super broad language to describe things. Always, never. This always happens to me. I never get my way. And once you start describing things that way, you stop responding as though it's a singular event and start thinking of it as a pattern. And of course you're going to get angrier over a pattern. Of course you're going to get more mad if this always happens to you instead of sometimes happening to you. Alright, so continuing our discussion of angry thoughts, let's get into number 3. It's called demandingness, and it's just like it sounds. It's when you put your own wants and needs ahead of the needs of other people. Maybe you decide a coworker needs to prioritize your work over their own. Or maybe you decide that a service worker should prioritize your wants over the wants of other customers. Either way, when you have these rules for how other people should behave, it's likely to make you angry when they don't behave that way. Alright, so let's get into our next type of angry thought. This one, inflammatory labeling. Just like it sounds, inflammatory labeling is when you label the wrongdoers in your life in these really negative ways. You call them a fool, an idiot, a jerk, or something I'm not going to say right now. And the reason it's a problem is that once you label someone that way, you start responding to that label. You no longer think of them as a person with nuanced motivations. They are that fool or idiot you labeled them as. Alright, so let's talk about this last type of angry thought, catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is just like it sounds. It's when you blow things way out of proportion. It's when you exaggerate the consequences, saying things like, this is going to ruin my day, my week, my life, whatever. One way to relax is to try and think through the actual consequences of this thing that's happened. How bad is this really? Is it as bad as I'm making it? Right, so I've been going through all these angry thoughts, but what do we do about them? One of the best things to do is to just pay attention to them and think about them when you're not actually angry and can think a little more clearly. In the heat of the moment, that catastrophic thought might actually seem really reasonable, but reflecting on it later gives you a chance to say, maybe not. Take time to reflect on your anger when you're not angry. So one of the best ways to deal with problematic anger is to keep track of your angry thoughts. And one of the best ways to do that is to use a mood log. A mood log is just like it sounds. At the end of the day, you write down every time you had a powerful emotion and you keep track of the different parts of that experience. Situation, feelings, thoughts, what you did. Now you can easily create a mood log on your own, but I actually have a few examples for you at my website, alltheragescience.com/moodlogs.